Hey friends, Mo here. I got a new drum set. Well, new to me. It's very old. I got it for super cheap off Facebook Marketplace for $200, and it is this old Yamaha Gig Maker set. It doesn't even have serial numbers, so probably like very early 80s, maybe even late 70s. And the snare drum sounds terrible. It is a very cheap steel snare, and I found this YouTube video years ago, showed me this cool snare drum tuning trick, and ever since I started using it, it just makes tuning cheap snares really, really easy to take the ring out of it and just make it more serviceable. Obviously, best solution, if you got the budget, just invest in a nice maple snare drum, which will sound great. And if you buy it from a music store, they can even get it tuned up for you and get it sounding great. But in case you don't have a budget, if your church is broke and you're stuck with a cheap kit, with a cheap drum, I wanted to share this quick tuning tutorial so you can get a better sound out of your snare drum. So here it is. It sounds really bad. Just so much ring and a horrible ring, not a good ring, just terrible resonance. And right now it's tuned pretty tight, top and bottom, and that's ideal to start. So if you have a cheap steel snare like this, tune it pretty tight on the top and the bottom. Not so tight that you break the head, but tune it up until you start to feel some resistance on the tuning pegs. Should sound like this. Sounds bad. Now, a lot of people will just buy one of those O-rings or put a bunch of tape on it, which leaves a sticky residue, or which I did to this drum here, or use those moon gel pads, and those can be okay and they can work, but I found that the best sound comes from not using any of that and just simply doing this quick little trick. You just detune one peg all the way down, just completely loose. And I just kind of secure it with my fingers. So it's not really applying any tension to the drum at all. We're getting closer. And now it's just kind of has this dead sound. And you're hearing some resonance from these cheap toms, unfortunately. But you do also want to loosen the pegs right next to this one. Just a little bit, like maybe a quarter turn, maybe a half turn. And you might even see a little bit of a wrinkle that's formed. I know that looks really bad, but that's actually what we're going for. This wrinkle is what kills the resonance of this cheap steel snare and makes it usable. Like, that is much better than what we were dealing with. So there you go, give it a try. Try this cheap steel snare drum trick. Maybe it'll make it much more useful for you if you can't afford a nice maple snare. And now you can get back to laying down those sweet, soft rock vineyard beats. Your name